There it
Yo!
is. Hello.
The graphics still hold up after all these years.
Totally. I am Greg, and this is Jeff,
Jeffy!
and we
Well, that's what my friend
are
Kelly calls me.
we are
We're the
the
40-40 men.
40 men. Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
And
Um,
Jeff, if you
it's
are, if I mean, those of you that are hearing just on audio can't really tell, but Jeff's actually got like his, little very lit neon fans wrapped around his face right now because
it's hot, man.
it's
I
41
need some
degrees
coolness.
Celsius to those of
I
our
missed the whole
American
family barbecue because of the goddamn weather. I was very disappointed. That I'm still positive for COVID even 7 days after getting it.
Oh,
I
really?
feel fine.
I was gonna ask. I had a major body change this week here. I'll cut off all the
Body
hair.
change. Did you get new tits?
Yeah, it's probably lost a few pounds of hair. So in my goal of losing weight, it happened.
Wait, I didn't even notice it. How much hair did you cut off?
Oh, the whole kit and caboodle. Here, hold on.
Holy crap, really? Damn! Greg ain't looked like that for years.
Yeah, there was.
That's like pre-pandemic.
It is. Yeah, it's 2.5 years. 2.5 years. So I'm going to a wedding to
I can't
a
do
friend
that
of mine's
myself.
wedding. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just not gonna happen.
I figured I'm going to a friend of mine's wedding in 2 weeks, so I may as well not look like the bassist from Megadeth from 1986. So,
Depends on the wedding, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that was my goal. Yeah. All right. Well,
Ooh, this feels great.
Yeah,
Breeze on my face.
I'm excited.
Much better than the hell that's outside right now. My God. It's like walking through Hades. Anyway, so what are we gonna talk about this week?
Well, we can do a week wrap up because it was kind of like everything came back to earth. You know how we were sort of flying high, and then we literally went 3-3 with whatever happens today's game.
Yeah,
so,
that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about the trade deadline, obviously.
Yeah.
And how we did or how we didn't do, and maybe how some other teams did.
Yeah.
I also want to see what people think about Schneider, if he's actually making a difference with us or not. The way we're playing, and that being said, I also think that it's now time to start talking about Shapiro and Atkins' legacy with this team, because they've been here for a while. They've done some pretty crazy things overall. So we'll talk about that too. And the usual Pissy Jays fans. There were some very interesting morons online today. This week, I'll tell you. Oh my God. I had somebody actually go, whatever the play was yesterday, where Jansen was arguing about something, and Schneider came out and didn't really defend him, went back to the dugout. People were like, Montoya would defended him.
Well, so here's my little thing on managers and pitchers. I mean, I don't know if we can start off with Schneider first if you want, but
yeah, that's fine.
Too many people are worried about like, like coddling a pitcher. You have to figure that, with the exception of, Manoah, who's literally like, still a kid because he's just flown up the ranks. Every one of these are grown men.
He's a freak of nature when it comes to pitching in general.
Yeah. But every one of these are grown men.
Nobody does what he's been doing.
So, like, if, yes, sure, it would be great if someone, would have your back for certain things. But also, you know what? You also got to cowboy up and suck it up and, get yourself out of a jam, or get yourself out of trouble, because you're literally, it's the worst way to put it. But I mean, like, for centuries, the male from 18 to 55 has had his way. And anything that they can say, like, sort of goes. So get yourself out of your own jam,
Yeah, I will say that is one thing that Montoya never seemed to be a big fan
Yeah,
of. Like I don't know how many times you saw a starter come up with 2 outs in the
yeah,
inning. Like
yeah,
that was one thing about Montoya that used to drive me bonkers.
yeah.
Is that's not the way you don't build up trust in your staff if you don't give them a situation
Patient could pitch out
where
of.
they
Yeah,
can get out of
and
those
but
stuff.
that's also
Like we're
like
too locked into innings pitched. We're too locked into how
yeah,
much they've pitched and how much they should be pitching.
yeah,
It's like we always go back. We always mention oh, Nolan Ryan threw
yeah,
230 pitches one game. Or back in the day, people threw a lot more pitches. I mean, it was a little different back then because we didn't throw as hard,
yeah.
so the taxing of the body was different. But that being said, I don't think 100 pitches should be the be all and end all of
No,
everything.
but also this
It's like it's
is
a weird number just
this is
for no
another
reason.
thing to factor in as well. Like a lot of those guys back then did not have the training regimen, the trainers, the personal physicians that players have access to now. Right, like look at when
Yeah,
Nolan Ryan started. That was like 1967. There was maybe a team doctor on the Mets
yeah,
back in the day, right? And
exactly.
if so, it was a guy that
He
was
was smoking in the
yeah,
clubhouse while he was doing stuff.
smoking and probably had a scotch, and it was probably like one of those guys that maybe had lost his license from his own private practice. But yeah, like they don't
Yeah,
have the
the
training
Bronco guys.
regimen. They don't have the training regimen that players have now. They don't have the access to essentially any kind of facility that to improve your body stature, to improve your body physique. So yeah, you should be a little stronger, and you should be able to last a little longer.
The
Oh,
problem is, are they tightening them up too much though? That's the thing.
maybe.
Like pitchers back then, they had free flowing. Like that's you can see it. They had so many different types of ways of throwing the ball, and they used their bodies a lot more. Sandy Koufax really used it. Bob Gibson really used his body a
Yeah.
lot, and they took a lot of the torque off the arm. I think now you're seeing a lot of players. It's all about arm angles and stuff, which is
Hmm.
fine. I mean, that's what they're doing with Kikuchi, but that's what they're doing with Kikuchi is they're trying to get him to throw more of a natural way as opposed to the unnatural over the top movement.
Yeah.
This is not a natural movement. This
I
is,
was going to say
you
Satchel
know.
Paige pitched into his 50s. like
Yeah, he's
like
50. I think he was 59
yeah.
his
Actually,
last game he
that
pitched.
that was that was a rando that was a there was a rando fact later on like today in history. Um but yeah, pitched well he was pitched in the Negro Leagues for forever, and was major league debut with what, 47, right? Like when he was 47 years old.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
Yeah, ridiculous. So,
No, it's. I mean, I get it now that you're trying to maybe guys are lasting longer in some of their careers, but some of them aren't. Like, I mean, I don't see any change in longevity.
no.
Like, it's still the best of the best will pitch for 20 years.
Mhm.
The above average guys will pitch for maybe 12 to 15. And everybody else will pitch for like 7 or 8 if they're pretty good. And anything below that's just how it's always been.
Well,
And no matter how many pitch counts you do, it's Scherzer still Scherzer,
yeah,
Verlander still Verlander. These guys are still killing it at 38, 39 because they know how to pitch,
pitch. Yeah.
not necessarily because of their velocity, which is still pretty good, but not as good as it was in their younger years. They just know how to throw the ball.
Well, this is
That's
this
what it
is
comes down to: location.
this is one of those things that I always sort of think of whenever we're talking about pitcher's longevity. Like Tim Lincecum, he was a full on body type thrower because he was a slingshot guy, right? It
Yeah,
wasn't
because he
it
weighed
wasn't like a
110
yeah.
pounds soaking wet.
And
That
he
guy.
he won what, 2 or 3 Cy Youngs, a couple of
Mm-hmm.
World Series. So it's not like he was awesome, but his career was like a short span, because that was his
Because
body type. Yeah,
yeah, and that's like Manoa. He's going to plow through just because he
yeah,
has that body type. Like he's a bull. You know what he reminds me of his body type? Roger Clemens.
yeah. No,
That's
pretty
exactly
much
what he
exactly
reminds
it.
me of.
Yeah, him
You know what I
him
mean?
Burley to an extent, because Burley was a big dude
Yeah.
as well. It didn't have his
Well,
like
Burley
he
wasn't
was.
that big at the beginning though. Like I was looking at some old pictures of Burley. He used to be a skinny little booger,
Yeah,
and he
but
put on
he
some
he
weight
put
or
on
something.
some weight. Yeah,
Yeah, but you're right. He didn't throw hard. He just located, and
yeah,
that's the thing. You've got to locate more than anything else when you're pitching. Is you have to locate. If you don't
yeah,
locate your pitches, you're screwed. It doesn't matter how hard you throw if you can't throw the ball over the plate or have that sinking action that they throw against the Jays
yeah.
constantly. Like if you've got a right-handed batter who knows, or a right-handed pitcher who knows how to throw a slider down and away, I guarantee you they're going to throw at least 3 or 4 of those per bat to every single
Yeah.
batter in the Jays
Oh
lineup who's
yeah.
right-handed,
Yeah.
which is why we needed lefties, which will go to the take us to the trade deadline stuff. We'll talk about a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Well, this
but I mean
originally
overall,
this I was going to say this originally was a thing on Schneider, and then we
well,
got
I will say
talking.
they are doing things. They are
Yeah.
taking the extra base. They are being a little bit more aggressive on
Yeah.
things. Um, I don't notice that big of a change. It's just to me, it was a managerial change to make a managerial change,
Yeah. To
and
probably
everybody thought that
light a fire. That's really what it was, I guess.
yeah, and that's but it's a whole thing. You can't fire the team; you got to fire the coach,
Yeah.
right? Comes usually, and you know what? Like if they think people who are like, "Oh, I can't," Schneider's going to be great. He's won all these championships. He did. He came up won championships with the guys he's playing with now,
Yeah.
but he's not a heavy-handed dude. Like he's just like Montoyo. That's why they got along. Like you don't
Yeah.
like it's not like Montoyo was like a Jekyll and he was Hyde kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? You don't get someone to be your bench coach who's going to be diametrically opposed to the way you do things.
Yeah.
So it was just a change for making change, and now people are complaining about him. Like I said, when Schneider came out and said his piece last night, went back in, people online are like, Montoyo would have stood up for his players.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. It's like, if there's a problem with the team, obviously, you look top down first, because it's easier to get rid of one than it is to do, to, as you said, to fire the whole team. Like, we don't have a Shea Hillenbrand anymore, who is an idiot, and we could just get rid of him, and all of a sudden everything's better.
He was,
Like,
he
rights on the
was
board,
fun.
sinking
He was a
ship,
fun guy
play
right
for your
there.
contracts. Yeah.
He was a fun guy.
Ugh.
I mean, fungi,
Yeah.
as in a terrible mushroomy headed person.
I was gonna say, so I figure both of us sort of, give a thumbs up endorsement for Schneider, because I think he's pretty much, managing the team with an even keel,
Yeah.
and and
But I'll tell you one thing, I don't think it's changed that much that they won't consider somebody else in the
no,
offseason.
he's an interim guy, and unless they
But a
go
lot
on
of
a
interim guys
serious
like
run,
Rob. Well, look at Thompson in Philly,
yeah,
right? When after Girardi left and the Canadian boy took over, they've been doing really, really, really well.
yeah,
So he might keep his job. I mean, Schneider might, but I mean, I don't think he's done anything extraordinary to say that he's locked it down.
no,
Because the last couple games, we'll get into the week that was, and
yeah,
after the break, but our defense was kind of, excuse me, our defense was a little, let's just say, I won't say it was
lethargic,
horrible. It was very, yeah, not crisp is how I'd say it. Like
yeah,
the throws were a little bit off. This thing, like the Chapman throw to Jansen, that should have got that out in the 10th inning when they lost in the 10th inning on
Yeah.
Friday. Like everybody is blaming Jansen for that one, but Chapman's throw wasn't that great.
yeah, and
Like it bounced into him, and so he's trying to catch a bounce and turn to tag Gordon out, and just didn't work. But
there was
people all over
there was an
Jansen
error
about that.
by Biggio a little before that as well, which sort of extended it too, right? But
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. That was a problem with the past too many Minnesota losses, is that we did
we beat ourselves.
it just wasn't crisp. We did all right. And one person mentioned something else and I won't call this a pissy Jays fan. I'll call this one of the knowledgeable Jays fans. And they said, but what they said, it's true. It's like we used to have an issue with scoring in the later part of the game.
Mhm.
And we were scoring in the beginning and we could never come back. That was the thing from last year. It was going on a bit this year. But now we can't seem to score in the beginning innings. We're scoring all of our stuff towards the end of the game. Like we're not, you know what I mean? Like, which means that we're not doing well against the starters for these teams right now.
But we've done that for the past couple of years. We've scored at the ends. Yeah.
Yeah, and right now we just the way the bullpens are. I mean, we'll get into that again. But oh my God, we're almost at 15. Yeah, we gotta have a break.
Yeah. We'll do
We gotta have a break.
All right, I got the Canadian way coming up here. Give me a sec. Good day, folks. The fast fashion industry makes up about 10% of the CO2 emissions, pollutes, and dries up water sources. 85% of all textiles end up in a dump each year. Do you want to change those statistics and look good while you're doing it? Then shop the Canadian way. Clothing created by the Canadian way is made from repurposed, recycled, and or biodegradable materials, manufactured in CO2 neutral sites by the workers who are paid a proper wage, and all within this great country of ours. So if you're tired of contributing to the endless supply of garbage produced by humanity, and you want to look good doing it, starting fall 2002, visit thecanadianway.ca and shop the Canadian Way. Woohoo! There we go.
Go confidently in the directions of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. That's what it tells me on the smug I got from, where was it? Probably Chapters.
I was gonna say, mine tells me Rogue One, and it's yeah, I know, it's some stormtroopers.
My mom's still got a couple of glasses from the old Mother's restaurant.
Oh my god! Wow.
Oh yeah, she ate just one or two, and she also has some stored somewhere of old Empire Strikes Back McDonald's.
Those were Burger King. Those are from Burger King. I fully remember those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were our glassware. Like, we didn't buy shit. We just went to stores and collected glasses from Mother's and Burger King, I guess. So,
all right, remind me.
She also had some ones from Disney, that Snow White and the Seven Dwarves and stuff like that. Like, that's the thing. These would give away great stuff back in the day.
Oh yeah,
even in cereal boxes.
Oh man,
now
the best presents used to be in the Shreddies box. The Shreddies, remember the Shreddies, the little Shreddies? Yeah. I remember they used to have they had a tie-in with Tron back in the day. Speaking of Disney, they had those little Tron discs. Yeah.
What was there's the other space movies out in the late 70s.
Battlestar Galactica. Buck Rogers.
No.
Black Hole. The Black Hole.
Black Hole.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. Because I remember he used to have this decoder thing. It would look like one of the robots. And it was like Morse code. They taught you how to use Morse code.
Did you notice the fact that my nerdism just instantaneously just rifled off a whole buck?
Yeah. The Black Hole was a highly underrated movie, and you know what? It's hard to find. Like, it's one of those movies I can't find. Yeah,
because it was a Disney movie, and to be honest, it was actually pretty cool, and there was only like 7 people in it.
I remember.
You know, when you look at the a lot of the science behind it, it's a little shaky, but it was super cool. I like it. Yeah,
it's late 70s sci-fi. It's just like Battlestar Galactica was great.
Oh yeah,
I never saw I've never seen the reboot. I've only seen the old ones.
Okay, this isn't okay. So when I get them back from my friend Suze, by the way, Suze, I would like all my Battlestar Galacticas back. I will end it. It's honestly one of the best shows on TV ever. Yeah, like ever.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
The one movie that I've been trying to find, and I finally found it, but you know what's really difficult to find it for free?
Okay.
Spaceballs.
Oh.
My brother and I want to show it to our niece because we think she's at the right age, and we think it's one of the funniest movies ever made.
I've got it on DVD. I'll bring it over for you. I'll wait until you're less.
But that's cool.
Well, you can
buy it for like $3. You can buy it for like $3 on YouTube, or all these different places will have it, but you have to buy it. As opposed to every other movie seems to be, you can get whatever you want, but that one, you have to buy it, and it's hard to find in general.
I mean,
so I don't know whether people find it too offensive.
I was going to say, there's a couple of things when you look back at them now, you're like, that.
You can say that about a lot of movies.
Oh, dude, totally.
Like, one thing I've been doing lately is just everyone, like, I'm kind of bored. I'll watch people watching movies for the first time. So I watched this dude watch Blazing Saddles for the first time. And
that's a movie they can't do this day.
Well, it's the thing. Like, he's like, damn, it was really funny, but wow, my god, like, there's a lot of stuff you can't. I'm surprised he actually enjoyed it because he was a black guy.
But that's also the thing too. Is like they were, they said a lot of bad shit, but that kind of bad shit was said in that kind of bad shit was said in the Old West, right? So like you have to place it into it was the Old West / 1910s or whatever, because they went back over
culture stuff. Yeah, people got to stop. Like, I can't believe they said that. It's like, just take into account when it was made.
Yeah,
it's like watching Friends now. Like, Friends, honestly, is kind of insulting to a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Like it's very anti-gay, even though
Yep.
they had gay characters, and they were lauded for having these wonderful gay characters. And
Yeah.
they made fun of them, like Monica's weight problems and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like it did not age well, which
No.
is why I'm wondering why the Jays are having the sitcom day promotion, giving away Friends shirts.
Dude, that was one of the best, reel back ins and tie-ins I think I've ever heard in my life. That was awesome because we
That
went on
was
a
I just don't
tangent there,
get
and you
that
pulled
one.
that back in.
Oh yeah, hold it back in. All right, so let's see. The week that was,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
were talking. So Sunday was our we took out the Tigers. Barrios had a great start, so that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
Um,
team batting was
you know,
kind of lame, like 6 hits. That was it.
yeah, but I mean, we won. The big thing was having Barrios have a good start.
Yeah. And
That was the
and
big thing. I mean, in
and
July he was pretty good.
it's against a division rival, so it doesn't even matter who it is, even if it's Baltimore, whatever, even if it's whoever, as long as you keep beating down on the AL East, that's good. I'm
Well,
fine with that.
we beat the Tigers though. That's what we beat.
No, oh sorry, yeah, Tigers, and then it was the next game was Tampa. Yeah. Well,
Yep. So then
Tigers,
Gosman
Tigers,
comes in on
Tigers,
Tuesday.
Tigers are an old school division rival. I'm thinking like '87. This
I
is
know.
still that one of
Well, they
those
should be
games.
just like Milwaukee used to be the bane of our
Yeah,
existence back in the day because they beat us all the time.
yeah.
Thank God they
And
went to the other
we all
side.
we needed to do was win one of those last 4 games against the Tigers in '87, and we could have won the pennant that year. But
All we had
anyway,
to do was win one of the games against Milwaukee when
yeah,
they beat us 7 in a row.
yeah. But yeah, that was
So
Tigers, and then Tampa was the
yeah,
next game on the second. Yeah,
yeah. So we had Tuesday. We had Gosman,
yeah.
1 hit, 10K, 8
Oh,
innings. That was amazing.
that's like, yeah, possibly is one of his best performances of the season so far as well. Like
Exactly.
almost
And
went the whole
then
game,
we had
and
yeah,
one walk as well, one walk. That
yeah.
was it.
He was
Yeah,
no, that was see, it was classic Gosman. That was exactly what we needed.
yeah.
And then Kikuchi came in.
And
Uh,
yeah, to be honest, he
he
actually
was all
didn't
right.
pitch that bad, but like he was
No,
that was just a everyone on the team being less than mediocre. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
so, and
And
that was
four
it.
innings, 200 runs, 5K.
Yeah,
He just got the pitch count up, which has been his biggest
yeah,
issue. Is getting his like for some reason in the first inning he always has to throw like 30 pitches.
yeah. I don't
If he can
know.
get that first inning hump over with,
Yeah,
I'm starting to wonder
actually, you're
if
actually
he's our
right.
starter for
Yeah,
Kikuchi.
you actually you're right. Like that could be probably his one of his little things, like just getting out of the first inning. Because once he goes on, then he's fine, and a lot of the
Yeah.
damage does come
So
to
that's
him
why
in
I'm
the
thinking
first inning.
maybe he needs a starter to get through that for those first
Yeah,
tough batters. Maybe he should be starting at batter 5 or whatever.
pull the Tampa
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Then
And then we had Manoa on Thursday who got hit by a pitch. I mean, batted ball again
same elbow too.
off his
Same
arm.
elbow. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank God this is non-pitching, but still, like,
Yeah.
God damn. Like,
But that
it's
was
just
that was a proper win. That was Alek Manoah literally being Alek Manoah, and team
yep.
was back. A couple of homers, 13 hits. I was fine with
Yep.
that. We this week though, and starting that game, we did leave a lot of players on like a lot of runners in
Yeah,
scoring position. Yeah, but
but I mean,
like
they did show the graphic on Friday's game where we are number one in baseball and hitting since the All-Star break
yeah,
in pretty much everything, including runners in scoring
yeah,
position. So I mean, this goes to one of these pissy Jays fans was saying that we're inconsistent. It's like
no. Actually, if you look at
every
their
offense is
last
inconsistent.
if you look at their last 3 weeks, with the exception of like that first little batch where they were just that 28 run explosion against
Yeah,
Boston, their batting average has wavered by like maybe 5 points.
yeah.
Runs, RBIs, homers per game, hits, they're all within exactly the same thing.
Everybody expects guys to perform every game. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Like the whole point of having 9 guys is that these guys aren't hitting, maybe
Hmm.
these guys are hitting.
Hmm.
You don't have the same guy every single time.
Yeah.
Like Bo had some big hits, which was nice to see because honestly, I think Bo's been way under what he's capable of.
Yeah.
I think his ultra aggressive approach has been causing him issues.
Hmm.
I know that's part of who he is. You can be aggressive, but you can't swing at the first pitch every time.
No, and you know who else?
Like
You know
get
who
in there and
else?
just see it.
has actually hit in key spots. Like, you know, his he's actually done fairly well, but I mean, has actually come up with like some
Chapman.
massive key hits. Tapia, yeah. Oh well, Chapman for
Yep,
the first
Tapia.
little bit, but Tapia lately as well. And
Yeah,
I've
Tapia
been
had a great
impressed
like
with
he had
Tapia.
one
Yeah, yeah,
yesterday. He
yeah,
had a great like just got the bat on the ball kind of stuff. And I know Tapia's not going to have all these crazy metric numbers that people
no,
keep calling him on. Like it's like, well, his metrics are this. It's
yeah,
like he hits and he gets on
yeah,
base and he's had some big hits. You know,
and and
in the
he
box series he
actually
had a basically a triple.
yeah, he actually tied it up. You know, put it into extra innings for us the other night, on Friday.
Yeah,
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 which we can go to
because
Friday.
he's
Friday.
a bat to ball guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to strike out a lot. He's not going to walk a lot.
No.
He's not going to have a high on base percentage.
No.
But when
But
he does hit, it tends to mean something, which
yeah,
is
and
what we want.
I'll
I
take
mean,
that.
ideally, we would have upgraded.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that when we get into the trade deadline stuff. But anyway, and then yesterday was just a sloppy game.
Yeah.
They just had a sloppy game in general. It just wasn't. It wasn't good. It just and then and the biggest blow right now, and it's a huge one, is losing Tim Mesa
Yeah.
because I watched that play so many times trying to figure out exactly how he got his shoulder dislocated.
Yeah.
It just must have been a weird, you know, he was kind of the way he hit Gordon when Gordon came in because it didn't look like it went really crazy, but
Yeah.
he must have jammed it or something. Because
Well,
the way they carried him off the field, like they had to help him up and hold his arm because he was in so much
yeah.
pain.
And
So
and this is the problem too, right? Like it's literally, it was, you know, just past the trade deadline. Like we still can, you know, pick something up, you know, which is essentially the last pass, you know, the last pass trade deadline where you can't play in the playoffs if we do, you know, when we do get there. Because, you know, like we've brought up as many people as possible, and a lot of them have, you know, with exception, let's say with the exception of our catchers, a lot of the guys that we brought up from the minors have not been ready. You know?
well, the one guy that I don't understand, I'm going to look up his numbers now, was Matt Gage.
Yeah.
Because Matt Gage was a lefty, and when he was here, I thought he was doing fine. And they sent him down. Like, here it is. He had a 138 ERA, a whip of .923.
That's
In
great.
13 innings pitched,
Yeah.
12 strikeouts, so almost a strikeout an inning
Mm-hmm.
in 11 games. His WAR is already .4. I don't understand why he was sent down when we had a dearth of lefties. Anthony Banda, by the way, has declared free agency because he cleared waivers, so we no longer have Anthony Banda as a lefty anymore. Mm-hmm. So Gage has got to come up. He's got to be the lefty, and why he was sent down in the first place boggles my mind because we had guys like Trent Thornton still up here, and Trent Thornton's been better this year, but he's still, or Jeremy Beasley, like great. Like and I guarantee that's probably going to come up now to replace Mesa. It's not going to be Gage. They'll probably bring up Beasley again, which
we can bring up Hatch.
I don't trust him.
We can bring up Hatch.
No, you know what? He's going to stay down in the full season of starting. Honestly, he does. He can't. Gage is a reliever. He's a lefty.
Yeah.
He's a big dude who knows what he's like. He's 6'3", 265. He throws hard. His whip is under 1. Like, bring him up. Yeah. I don't, unless there's something to do with his options, maybe. I got to find out more about that because I just don't get it. If he's not the one that gets brought up, it makes no sense because now we have no lefties at all.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes back to one of the guys on the Pissy Jays fans front was like, we got to start drafting lefties. And me and another gentleman in the group were trying to explain to them that this isn't hockey. Yeah. This isn't football. This isn't basketball.
You don't draft someone and they start on your team right away. You draft someone, they go into the minors for 3 years.
You know? And then he said, well, in hockey, you know, these guys go to the minors all the time. It's like, not all the time.
Not all the time.
You know, like you don't draft in the first round a lefty shooting guy because, you know, it's just a different way of drafting. It's
fully different sport. Like don't even get me started on the fact that because you can have like 17 and 18-year-olds playing in the NHL. How many times have you had a 17 and 18-year-old, with the exception of Bryce Harper in the last little while.
Yeah,
Like,
or Juan Soto.
yeah,
And they
or
were even
like
19. Like
because
18-year-olds don't make it.
Ken Griffey Jr. He was 19.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
19. That's like, come on. Yeah. We
No,
can
they don't
actually
get it.
bust to a
Oh,
commercial.
yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do our. I'm gonna do our beer commercial. Here we go.
Ooh, yeah, beer.
All right, folks. This is a beer commercial. No,
Beer commercial.
there's not going to be a classic rock song or a ridiculous cottage by the lake with girls in bikinis trying to sell you schlock beer. However, there is a girl, and she is the brewmaster, and she makes beers. Shiloh is a small independent brewery out of the south end of the nation's capital. That is our nation, Canada. That is Ottawa. And it's also certified kosher. You'll find an incredible lineup of session ales, Vienna lagers, sours, stouts, pales, and IPAs. And even my favorite, which is the Belgian Beer Snob, which is Trappist Belgian style. So they don't need to throw the idea that your summer will be awesome if you drink their beer. They just make great beer. But if you do have an amazing cottage by the lake with jet skis and 80s rock playing in the background, hopefully Whitesnake, it can't hurt to drink Shiloh beer too. Visit shillowbeer.com. Boom. There we go.
I'm
Dose.
trying to find out some updates on who's replacing Mesa. So far, there's really nothing.
No.
But let's go to our trade deadline stuff. Because
Okay.
I can honestly say that our trade deadline was
Lackluster.
ridiculously underwhelming.
No, it actually, to be honest, it actually started out okay when we picked up Bass and Pop. I'm like, all right, you know what? Bass didn't do bad for us when we had him in 15 and 16, and we got a Canadian. I'm like, okay, cool,
And Pop's Pidgeot Slider is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So they were the first guys we got, and that was way
earlier
to the deadline.
Yeah, and it was earlier in the day.
And I mean, they just. I have a very fun. So the rumor going around is that the Jays overvalued their prospects, especially their catching, which I thought was weird because Gabriel Moreno was like the number one on MLB's list.
I think he's the number one catcher, but he's number 4 on their list. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends on your list. Baseball,
number 4 in
America had him one.
Number 4 in total, but he's the number one cat. Well, it depends.
Well, I guess it depends on your publication. MLB had him 4. Baseball America, the publication had him 1.
Okay.
Like he is 1 in some spots. We'll just say top 5. Okay. He's a top 5 prospect, and everybody loves him. That the Jays overvalued, and that's why they didn't make a lot of the moves that they did. See, the fact that Ian Happ didn't get traded by Chicago or Wilson Contreras, I found very strange.
Yeah.
I thought Ian Happ for sure was gone. And he would have been a guy we would have wanted. So I'm wondering what the Cubs were asking for him.
Oh, probably.
And the Jays just decided that he wasn't worth what they were going to give up. That they want. Basically the moves they made were staying the course.
Yeah,
we're not going all in this season. We've got players that we think can do it, and if we make it past the first round of the playoffs, we'll call it a success.
Yeah,
because they didn't get anybody. Because the reason I say this is because sure we got Mitch White from the Dodgers, which is great.
Yeah,
he's going to be a great piece, like a stripling type.
Yeah,
but we gave away Max Castillo in the Merrifield trade.
Yeah.
So the one thing that we lacked was pitching depth in the rotation, and we basically just replaced Castillo with White.
Yeah, and we picked up Merrifield, who was a lesser of most of the targets out there. Like he's yet another infielder who can play outfield, and yes, he
was an outfielder for a long time.
But he has. I'll give him the fact that the 7 day, like the week he's been up, he's hit 385. Got a stolen base in there as well, and he got vaxxed.
Yep.
But I mean, like he was literally taking over whenever Springer goes down, and he's
exactly why they got him.
And he's
the only reason they got him.
And he's a bat yet again. What side? Righty. He's not a lefty. He could have been a lefty.
Yeah. But he's a contact guy. Like he started the year horribly bad.
Mhm.
But after May, he's been doing much more to his thing. I mean, he's led the league in stolen bases. Like, he's now another fast guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what they're going to start doing more. One thing that really surprised me was, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but it was after Snyder took over,
Mhm.
that Tapia stole a base, and it was his first stolen base of the season.
Which that shocked me because
Because he's a stolen base
he's a
guy.
base stealer. Yeah.
That's what he had. And so you get him in Merrifield. So I think you're going to see a lot more hit and run kind of stuff, which is
Yeah.
fine because we've got these right-handed guys we've got are contact guys, right? They're not going to hit home runs. They're contact guys, which is good because we don't need more power dudes. You know, I'm glad Lourdes isn't swinging for the fences anymore. I'm glad Lourdes is just hitting the damn ball, and he's been one of the best hitters for the past 2 months in baseball
Yeah.
because he's just hitting the ball. One person who's slumping is the granddaddy of love amongst the Jays fans, Alejandro Kirk. Ain't
Yeah.
hit nothing.
Yeah. And
That's
that's
like
and
4
that's
games.
and that's the thing. Jansen has
And
definitely
Espinal.
picked up but in terms of like the catching duties and the hitting from the catching, it's been Jansen for the last couple as well.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
They should have traded Kirk at the deadline.
No, but this just goes to prove my point where Kirk isn't physically capable of doing 162 games
Mhm.
catching.
Yeah.
He is not capable of it at all. Like, he's already getting tired.
Yeah.
Like, there's just something about him, and this is a completely off the rails from baseball thing. It's just something I noticed in one of their promos. Now, have you seen the commercial they have for that Friends t-shirt?
No, not yet.
Okay. So it's like they're doing like a fake, like George Springer's going like da 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 da, and they're doing like they have a shot of Espinal and Chapman going. They're holding a couch and they're trying to maneuver it like that scene in Friends when they're trying to go the thing left, move it left. I am, and they're showing these other shots of like, oh, George Springer, and they have one of Alejandro Kirk, and this is what he's doing.
Okay, those of you
He has
on the audio end of this,
he looked terrified.
I was going to say those of you on the audio end of this, Jeff didn't really do that much, meaning that Alejandro Kirk is not an actor.
He looked okay. I'll say he looks terrified.
Yeah,
like he doesn't know what to do, and he has the same look on his face all the time. He doesn't show any emotions at all, which is good to a point, but like smile once in a while. I've never seen him smile unless he's with his family.
Here's a little thing. So we've said who has not impressed. Why don't we do the bench from the bench and say who has impressed us this week? So, yeah, all right. All right, our bench from the bench.
Well, I'm gonna go just Merrifield right now because he just came in and started hitting and catching and doing what he's supposed to do. He just pro'd it up and came in. I'm gonna put Lourdes on that as well because he's still hitting, and he's become a catalyst now, which is why they're putting him at the top of the lineup from that last few days.
Yeah,
because he's just hitting the crap out of the ball. That would be my guy.
I'm gonna give Vladdy a little props because we kind of expect it from him though. But I mean, like in the last week, he's got a 409 average, a couple homers, 5 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases.
Yeah,
Vladdy stole 2
bases. The big thing with Vladdy that I'm liking now is like he was hitting, but he wasn't hitting a lot of home runs. He was hitting doubles and stuff.
Yeah,
his launch angle is again back to like 2020 standards, but. That line drive 150-mile-an-hour home run he hit was fantastic. But the next night when he hit one, he hit this towering blast straight away center field.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw that, I'm telling you, he's going to go on a run now.
Well,
Not
this
just with
is,
his hitting streak, which is 16 games. He's going to have a power run.
but
And
this is also crazy. Like our big hitters have always hit well in target field, because I don't know if you remember,
yeah,
like when
Jose.
when Jose he hit six in that last one to put him over the 50 mark back then, and
Yeah,
it was all in target field.
which is weird because it ain't
It's
a
not a
hitter's
homer
park.
pick.
That's
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
it's a big park. It is a big
Yeah.
park, but there's something about
So,
it there. Yeah.
but his angle got better, so I'm
Mhm.
happy with that. So I think he's finally coming because the one thing that he was doing when he wasn't hitting, and another guy in the Jays fans mentioned this, he was grounding out the third base all the time. Like when he wasn't getting a hit, that's how he was getting out. He was
Yeah.
grounding, he was pounding it into the dirt to third base, and it was happening a lot.
Yeah.
So I still think his wrist is a problem because he's been having a wrist issue.
Mhm.
And when you're talking about turning your hands to get the ball at that launch angle you want, I don't think he's been able to do it as much. I think his wrist is getting better
Better.
now,
Yeah.
so that might be part of it. I know Springer's on the IL, we said, because of his elbow
Yeah.
inflammation. They're hoping that he'll be better after that. Bo's been getting his hits here and there. Like everybody's been doing their thing
Yeah.
except for Kirk and Espinal.
And that's it.
But I mean, that's also because, and I think that goes back to they both haven't played a full season like that.
Yeah.
Like Espinal only played 80, 85 games last year because he was a sub.
I'm gonna give a special shout out to Gaussman as well, because
Yep.
the start that he had, 8 innings, 0 runs, 10 Ks,
Yep.
0.25 whip for that game, like awesome. So
Oh, and also Jordan Romano for being the reliever of the month for the second time
yeah,
this season.
reliever
Got
of
it
the
in
month,
April and he
and
got it again for July.
yeah, nice.
So, although he's definitely not a lockdown closer.
No,
He's not.
he's coming in
But
when and most definitely he's doing a great job, but he's not a fireball
he's not a
guy.
1-2. He's not a 1-2-3 guy. He
No,
definitely is not a 1-2-3 guy.
no,
So trade deadline wise, I mean, Mitch White, I think he'll be fine.
yeah.
I think it's a good pickup.
And
Zach Pop,
that's literally because Ross Stripling went down, and that was literally like, here's Stripling, here's yet again another LA pitcher who can start and go long. Yeah,
exactly. Here's the one thing do you think the Padres did the right thing in trading for Juan Soto?
well, I mean, he was the big target for every single solitary person, and Hosmer kind of was a little bit of a baby about all that, but I can understand it going from
No, no, no,
San.
no, no, no,
I
no,
can,
no, 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 no.
I
No
can,
baby. He had it in his
oh
contract.
yeah,
He had a no trade in his
yeah.
contract.
But
So
I can
go
understand wanting to go, not wanting to go to Washington.
Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
At least he got to go to Boston.
living in San Diego and then going to DC. But I don't know. I do think that the Padres were always going to be the one that was going to get him.
Because they had
And
the best farm system.
because they had the best farm system, right? So, but the problem is the Padres have to get by the Dodgers, and right now they've run into the Dodgers and it hasn't worked because they've lost.
And it goes back to the point where people
Yeah.
there's guys on there, talking about the Jays should have got Juan Soto. If we were going to get Juan Soto,
But how much would we have to give up? Yeah.
We would have had to give up Biggio,
Mhm.
Bo,
Mhm.
or Elvis Martinez, Gabriel Moreno, Ricky Tiedemann.
Mhm.
Like we would have had to give up our future
Yeah.
to get him. And I'm sorry, after Groshans was gone, there's no way they're giving up Elvis Martinez
No.
because you're going to be your backup in case either Chapman goes
Mhm.
or they trade Bo.
Because
I have a very funny feeling that in the offseason, Bo might get traded.
yeah,
For
I
the simple
feel
reason that money.
yeah, I
You
feel
got to
that
choose him or Vladdy.
him
Can't
him
do both.
him and Biggio are probably not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
Biggio has a little more versatility, but does not have the power that Bo has. But both of those two are probably going to be gone. That's one thing we actually also have to mention as well, is the fact that Kirk will probably be gone. Because I think that they didn't trade him in the off season in the trade deadline, but I think that he will be gone in the off season because we're going to keep Moreno, we're going to keep Jansen.
Yeah.
So
And
this is the
thing,
apex.
I wish they would have traded him
Yeah.
because now that he's slumping, if he slumps the rest of the season,
His
trade
value
value
goes
is gonna
down.
drop like a rock.
And that's the thing. You gotta strike while the iron's hot, essentially, right? So
and that's the thing. I would have traded him. I mean, I would have liked to trade him to Chicago, but Chicago didn't trade Wilson Contreras, so they weren't going to take Kirk.
Yeah.
And the fact they didn't trade Wilson Contreras probably pisses off Wilson Contreras to no end.
Yeah.
Because he should have been traded. You know, like he's a lame duck.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be a free agent. So I had one guy going, "Yeah, we could have traded these guys who got like Ian Happ and David Robertson and then Marcus Stroman. He could have been our pitcher." I'm like, there's not a snowball's chance in hell I would bring Marcus Stroman back.
No, but also, how much do you have to give back? Like this is everyone thinks that, oh yeah, we'll just give him this, because I remember seeing this, and it's a different sport, but every fan has their own conception of what value is on their players.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the I don't even know how I ended up seeing it, but it was someone who was a Spurs fan, and they were talking about how we could get, like, we as in the San Antonio Spurs could get OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam for Jakob Pertl and someone else. I'm like, we already traded Jakob Pertl away, in order to get Kawhi Leonard with.
Well, there was talk they were going to bring him back.
Yeah.
They talked about it apparently, but I mean, I'd rather have Thaddeus Young anyway.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. One of those things that's just like, we can do this, and we can get like the two best players from that team over here for this that they already got rid of, and then someone else who we've never heard of. Like, no, it's not.
Well,
that
goes to the whole Soto thing again. Is you can't have, like, one guy doesn't make a team. Like, basketball's a little different. One guy can make a big difference, but Soto on our team, like, if you brought Soto in here, like, he's a generational player. It's like, he's going to be one of the best ever. But when you have him with Vladdy, you can't. I don't think you can have two of those guys on one team.
And if you have one guy, if you have one guy that can hit,
$400 million contracts.
Yeah, but if you have one guy that can hit, you know what you can do? You can always walk him, and then pitch to everyone else on the team who sucks. So like having one player means nothing. Like look at what's happening with the Angels right now. You've got two generational players, Trout and Ohtani, and they've got no one else. Well, they can't do anything.
Trout's having a bit of an issue now with his. He's got that rare back condition apparently now that they're gonna have to monitor for the rest of his career. But I mean, I was actually kind of surprised they didn't trade Ohtani. I thought they would have done that.
Yeah.
Again, when the iron was hot, but they chose not to.
Yeah, here we'll sneak in another commercial quick. We'll do stage 10. Hey kids, do you want to be a podcast superstar like us? And host a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel, or just create a great video blog? The Stage 10 app can turn your computer into a production studio, adding graphics, music, and videos on the fly, as well as patching in multiple guests, some from as far away as China, like Jeff was a couple of years ago. Friendly staff to help with any problems that may occur. Josh has bailed us out on many occasions. Stage 10 allows you to broadcast simultaneously to multiple platforms and all social media sites. So, if you want to look cool, Stage 10 can help you look cool. Visit stage10.tv. Boom. There we go.
Yeah. That's good. Now we can
chat
on about other crap.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we do have to mention? Vin Scully.
Yeah.
Vin Scully. Man.
Oh, man.
That's...
he was, 94 years old or something?
Yeah, but okay, so here's what's crazy. Okay, so obviously 67 seasons with, in the thing. He saw 20 no-hitters. He called 20 no-hitters, 3 perfect games. And the fact that he started with the Dodgers as their broadcast guy when they were in Brooklyn.
Well, here's the other weird thing. I read an thing saying that when he first started, I believe it was Abner Doubleday that he met, who was just at the end of his career. Yeah. So they say if you add up Abner Doubleday to Vin, you're talking like over 100 years of baseball between just and there's a link between the two because they met each other. That to me was crazy. That's how long he's been around.
Yeah.
No, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. He'll always be the GOAT because He just was, and he was such a wonderful person too. That's the other thing. He was just a really like the stories I've read about just random people who were asked to do something that like one guy's like I was asked to drive Vin to the airport, and Vin's like, "Hey, Johnny," like he knew who this kid was
Yeah.
already. You're to pick me up, all right, let's go. And he just have
Nice.
like stories and stuff to tell him, and
That's cool.
just like he was just a generally good dude, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, rest in peace, Mister Scully, because you were baseball. Like
Yeah.
he's the goat. He's the goat.
Yeah.
The other thing we wanted to touch on briefly because we don't have much time.
Oh yeah, we got 10 minutes for.
Yeah, we were talking. I want to kind of mention now we can start talking about the legacy of Shapiro and Atkins.
Mhm.
Because there's still some people out there who call them Shatkins because they can't stand, they're not doing anything and blah. First of all, if you think Shapiro and Atkins have done nothing for this team, you're stupid.
Oh god. Yeah.
They rebuilt what Double A basically destroyed.
Like I
mean,
get
granted,
what
he went for it.
yeah, I was gonna say I get what Double A tried to do because he put all his all the eggs in a basket and it almost worked. It almost worked.
And he knew but the thing is, he knew he was going to be gone. Too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that he had nothing to hold him back.
He LeBron.
So
LeBron always makes the team better, and then as soon as he leaves, it's just a desolate
So we
wasteland.
rebuilt the minors in and we made the playoffs in 2020 from 2016. Right?
When there was when we weren't even a whiff. Like granted, they had that extra spot available because of the shortened season, but yeah, there was no way that we should have even been there.
No. So and they developed all these drafted really really well. I know Bo was not our draftee, or Bo wasn't ours, and Vladdy wasn't
ours. But yeah,
still. They've drafted well ever since. They rebuilt the farm system. They redid the entire complex in Dunedin, made it the best training complex in baseball. And now they've got this renovation to the dome, which is going to be a $300 million renovation, which is going to completely change the dome.
Yeah.
One guy online, one of the Pissy Jays fans, like, I can't believe they're going to $300 million. That's going to affect their payroll. And, it's such a nice ballpark as it is.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Rogers Center?
I like it, but it's not. It's not a nice ballpark. It's fun because it's fun because it's my home. And $300 million to a ballpark is nothing when ballparks now cost $1 billion.
Exactly. And their building budget has nothing to do with their player budget. This is a facility they're going to upgrade, and they're still going to have events going on beside the Jays. It's going to be a baseball ballpark because they're going to have hard seats. Anyway,
I can utilize my Jeff Con 1 little graphic here because you were about to go off. Go off. Go off.
So the utilization is their legacy is they have rebuilt this entire organization from the ground up.
Yeah.
They have done everything that needed to be done. They're getting stadium stuff done. They're getting things done with player development. I mean, I think they've hired way too many coaches, mind you.
And this is something that a lot of people don't think of. Like when you add to a stadium's value, it attracts more fans, meaning more money, meaning you can increase the payroll. People don't get that. People don't
well, people are mad because they said the prices are going to go up.
Yeah,
and if they are, because they've already said they're going to have 20% less seating than they had with the Skydome as it was, which is fine. So what? Every other team, if you look at the other ballparks, the new ones coming out, look at the one
smaller.
Like they had.
They're smaller, with the exception of Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium built a slightly bigger one, but everyone else is a little smaller. Yeah,
but that's just because it's Yankee Stadium. It's like if the Dodgers ever redid Chavez Ravine,
you could put 60,000. You could put 60,000 in. That's fine. Yeah,
and that's the thing. But that's because they're LA and New York. I mean, because we've got to consider ourselves a big market.
Yeah. But New York and LA, like you've got 14 and 17 million in the area to draw from. So yeah, you're gonna find 60,000 per game, right?
Yeah. So I mean, their legacy is that they have brought the Jays into the 21st century.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, that's what they've done. They've drafted well. I mean, we are low in the draft rankings these days, like in terms of like farm system rankings. But that's just because we traded a bunch of guys.
Traded it or brought it up, or brought it up because 5 years ago we were massive, and now most of those are up here right now.
Well, not just that, but also some of the guys we thought would be something became nothing.
Yeah.
Thomas Hatch, and Anthony Kay are the ones I'll always bring up in terms of
Yeah.
that one because we thought they were going to be something and they
Uh,
became nothing.
I'm trying to think of like the guy who was supposed to be like our catcher of the future, Max. And see what I mean? Like I can't even think of him. Like Max. It's gonna strike me in a second. But then Jansen pretty much
Oh, Max Pentecost.
Max Pentecost, yeah, Max Pentecost, and Jansen pretty much outshone him, and yeah, so
Yeah, and so they've been drafting talent, which is great. Middle
mhm.
infield because you can middle infielders are always the most athletic. You put them other places. I
Yeah,
still think we got to be focusing more on pitching
mhm.
and outfielders because we don't have the depth of either of those.
No,
And trading trading was it Nick Faso? Nick Faso.
mhm.
He was going to be another arm I thought was going to be great. I don't understand us trading arms.
No,
That's the only thing that is driving me nuts. Is I don't think we should be trading arms at all because we don't have any. We
no.
need to be keeping as many arms as we can.
But
So,
that could be a thing for the off season now, right? Like I'm gonna
but
I'm
I
gonna
mean, I
I'm
would
gonna
have kept
defend it.
Max Castillo.
Yeah,
Just think how we'd be doing now. If we had Max Castillo still here,
hmm
we'd be in a much better position than we are.
hmm
Right? Like Mitch White could have gone to the bullpen as a long man.
yeah,
Castillo could have stayed in the rotation. I mean, a lot of they're banking a lot on Kikuchi. I mean,
yeah.
I'll give them one thing:
Well,
they're loyal to their people, and they work with them as much as they
well, they
can.
also kind of have to bank a lot on Kikuchi because there's a lot of bank on Kikuchi. So
Yeah, $36 million. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, you have to. But I mean, I think he'll be a serviceable fifth starter as he should be. He's not going to be what other people expect him to be. I
no.
don't know what people in Blue Jay Land expect a fifth starter to be,
Well,
but we
I think
expect
I
one.
and it's kind of funny because I have this feeling that there's a lot of sort of stereotypes. I'm like, oh, we got a Japanese pitcher in Rio, an Asian pitcher in Rio, so we're gonna get another one because Japanese guy, right? Because Rio's Korean, but they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
get another Rio, and it's not like you can't
no.
just say, oh, we got
Well,
another white
Kikuchi's a
guy
complete, yeah,
coming
he's a
in,
completely
and it's
different
another white
pitcher
guy
too.
pitching. Like it's not the same thing. It's two different people. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a fastball guy. He's got
Mhm.
if Kikuchi can control his fastball and place his slider, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like that's what they did with Robbie Ray, and Robbie Ray was able to do that.
Yeah.
Who's also not having the greatest season either. So,
No. But that's also one of those things. Like a lot of players can go to a spot and it can totally work for them. And then, because funny enough, we've mentioned Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo was not working for the
got traded
Yankees.
to the
He got
Dodgers.
traded to the Dodgers. So how do you fail upwards when you suck so bad?
Well,
And
or look at
and and it's working for him. He's starting to hit there. So
yeah, well look at Brandon Drury. Like when we picked him
yeah,
up in 2020, he did nothing.
nothing.
And he was a decent player, we thought, and then he leaves here, and he just got traded from the Reds to he got with the Padres, right? Yeah, he
Yeah,
went to the Padres too, and he's been having the best season of his career.
yeah,
Sometimes it's just fit. Sometimes you're just in the right place where you should be. Drury obviously wasn't meant to be here, but man, it'd be great to have right now.
yeah.
Like he'd be the kind of player that we would need. Like going forward, yeah, the one thing that they have to focus on is left-handed hitting.
Hitting,
That's what
left-handed
they have to
hitting. Yeah,
focus on
yeah,
because you're seeing it, and they talked about this all the time, where those sliders down and away, down
yeah,
and away, down and away, up and away, down and away, and it's throwing them off. And the lousy umpiring isn't helping either,
yeah.
mind you, because I think the lousy umpiring has really contributed a lot to the plate
Well,
approach of
what
not
the
just the
what
Jays,
that's
but a
what
lot
that's
of players.
helping is the robot ump. Call for the robot
Yeah.
ump. That's literally what that's
Well,
all that's helping.
apparently that's going to be a lot harder to do than they're letting on
Yeah.
in terms of how to do it properly. But
Well, the
I mean,
tech the
that's just
tech
the
is
way it
there.
is.
The tech is there most definitely to track the ball. Like that's
Yep.
not even a thing. But to actually have it implemented, like at a game thing, you're
It's
still
the
you're
it's
still
the
gonna
up
need you're still gonna need the person there to call people in, call people out, like call people safe,
yeah.
call people out. Like
Well, it's the up down strikes. They're
yeah,
saying like getting the side to side ones will be fine because
hmm
that's what we're aiming for. Basically,
yeah,
is it so the outside and the inside pitches.
yeah,
But the problem it has is it's doing the high and low pitches that it's not because batters change.
yeah.
Like you put in just say had a team you had Kirk goes the bat, and then
And
after
then
Kirk, Aaron Judge
Aaron
goes the
Judge,
bat.
yeah, yeah.
That's like a foot and a half difference right there,
and
practically.
and the Judge's strike zone is higher and also it's larger. It's like it's
Exactly.
yeah,
So it's just something that it is. But All right. So, I mean, we talked about the legacy. We talked about how the team is going forward. Underwhelming trade deadline, but hey,
Yeah.
they stuck the course. They kept their prospects, which helps us in the future.
Yeah.
We are still in a window of 5 years. We're not in. Somebody tried to tell me that we were in year 7 of a 5-year window. I'm like,
No.
the 5-year window didn't start when they started here.
No.
Like the
And
5-year
that's
window starts when
like
they're contending.
it's like, you know, here's a depleted pot. You got to fill it back up, and it takes you a few years to do that. And once you figure it out you're good, then yes, then you've got your 5-year window. But yeah, no.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
That's our time, according to the dingies.
Yeah. So next week we've got 3 in Baltimore, and then we've got at home 3 against Cleveland. So
I'm worried about Baltimore. I'll tell you that much. But
I'm gonna say 4-2, 4-2. But it's gonna kind of be funny. I think we're gonna win 3 against Cleveland, lose 2 against Baltimore.
I think you're right, actually, because the Orioles are, they're pushing it.
All right. Well, kids, we're gonna sign off. Anything more to say, Jeffy?
40 men. Remember, catch us on everything.
Yes,
Spotify,
iHeartRadio,
iHeart.
Spotify, Apple, Audible,
YouTube.
More specifically, 365 Sportscast as well. So
yeah, 5 o'clock Sundays. Anyway, have fun, kids.
Later.